Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Doreen Short. I'm an RDI consultant and an RDI mom. And in this video, I wanted to share 7 things that you can expect from your RDI program. Now, this is primarily based off my own personal experience as a parent, but I think they're general enough that they could apply to just about anyone. Okay, so number 1 is parents are the ones doing the work. And that is because RDI is actually a parent training program. That means expect a daily commitment, but that commitment is designed based on the individual needs of the family. So when it comes to me, to kind of give you a benchmark, I ask my families if they're able to set aside 30 minutes a day, that's adequate for their learning and their growth. Now, why this focus on parents is because it is in fact the parent that guides and develops the mind of their child. So you can expect that RDI is a program that actually follows typical human development. This is really important because those of us who have children with autism are experiencing a relationship that's too disconnected and too confusing. But parents can absolutely be trained on how to use natural, everyday experiences to get their children back on track in the ways that human development intended. That's why this parent training is so important. And that brings us to item number 2, which is expect that parent learning comes first. If we want to help you understand how human development unfolds and how to give your child access to that, you have to learn that first before you can apply it to your child. This is very similar to if you've ever been on an airplane with a young child. The flight attendants will tell you, please put on your own mask first before you assist the child. That's because they recognize that you need to be alert and aware if you're going to help your child through an emergency. And similar to that example, in RDI, you need to be alert and aware about the deficits of autism if you're going to help this child get back on track with the guiding relationship. So this might mean you need to invest 1 or maybe even 2 months towards learning parent objectives before you're ready to apply that learning towards childhood objectives. So for number 3, expect the learning curve to feel a little steep. After all, there's going to be a whole lot of learning in the beginning, so just expect that going in. Because nothing is more complex than the human brain and the dynamic aspects of relationships. That's why the learning curve feels really steep in the beginning, is because we're taking the components of natural, typical human development and breaking that down for parents who are experiencing children with autism. Another way I like looking at this is trying to learn a new language. So in the beginning, it feels very clumsy and awkward, and you end up making all kinds of mistakes because everything feels really unnatural. That is, until you start developing a sense of fluency. And when that happens, it starts feeling really, really normalized for you. And what you'll discover is that your learning starts to feel really exponential, not just for you, but for your child. Let me show you what I mean by this. Here's an exponential curve. Now, what you'll notice on an exponential curve is at the beginning, progress feels really slow. So expect that to happen. You're learning, your child is learning, and it seems like it's very incremental. But over time, the learning really starts to compound upon itself. So expect about 6 months to a year in, you're going to start feeling that acceleration. Another way we can look at this is the building of a pyramid. If we look at that bottom layer, right, that's the foundation, the most important layer, it's pretty clear that that layer is going to take the longest. It's going to take the most resources, the most materials, the most time, the most energy. But it should be clear to you that as you put the layers on top, it's a little less work. It's a little less work each time you're putting on that new layer. So you can expect that everything's going to start feeling easier. It's going to start feeling more fluent, just like that example I gave you of learning a new language. And that's because this pyramid symbolizes the developing mind of your child. And as this pyramid gets built, what it means is your child is taking on more and more of the load, more and more responsibility, so that the relationship that the two of you have together can actually be one that emulates what we would expect to see between a parent and a child in typical human development. And this leads us into item number 5, which is you start to feel a sense of normalcy with family life. After all, autism doesn't just affect the child who has it, it also affects the dynamic between family members. But now that you are able to effectively guide the learning mind of your child, you can expect that level of cooperation and collaboration that occurs between family members anytime they're engaged in everyday activities that they're doing together, and to enjoy those activities in harmony. This is what families with autism want. They want a harmonious relationship where everyone can feel successful. And that brings us to number 6, because the successful child is the maturing child. The maturing child is the child who is capable of making their own decisions in the unique moment in which they find themselves in. So you can expect a lot less prompting, directing your child, telling your child what to do, in essence, do all of those things that we might call, or what feels like, over-parenting. You can expect that a whole lot less, because now your child is able to take on more responsibility with their own decision-making process. This is because of your training. This is because you are now capable of guiding the thinking of your child, so that your child can guide him or herself. Because ultimately that's what this is about, that we want our child to mature, and that means being able to make decisions in life even when it's not entirely clear which direction we should take. So you can expect your child to learn from their decisions and to be able to apply that learning to new and novel situations, because ultimately we would like to see these children have the flexibility and the ingenuity to work in collaboration and coordination with others when solving complex problems. Because what we're really talking about here is independence. With increasing maturity comes increasing independence. So expect in the beginning that you will be working closely with your consultant while you're in the early stages of your learning. As you become more capable, the amount of help that you will need will diminish, until eventually you will find yourself independent from your consultant. Because this idea of independence doesn't just apply to your child, it also applies to you. Because you will now have the knowledge and expertise to guide your child through all of life's milestones. Because it's not just about the child becoming independent of you. It's also an opportunity to see yourself as independent from your child, because now your child is able to live his or her life for themselves. Okay, so that's the conclusion of 7 things you can expect from an RDI program. If you're looking for more, I do have more videos on my website, independenceforautism.com, that can give you more examples of what you can expect, and a lot of other information there as well. I hope you found this video helpful and thank you for watching.